The day I was uninvited, and everything changed. The phone call came at exactly 11:47 p.m., not 11:46, not 11:48, 11:47. I remember because I had just signed off on a $2.3 million renovation approval for one of my coastal properties when my phone lit up with "Mom" flashing across the screen. At that hour, it never meant anything good. I leaned back in my leather chair, staring out at the glittering skyline below my penthouse office. The city never slept, and neither, it seemed, did expectations. I answered, "Hi, Mom." No greeting came back. Instead, her voice arrived cold and controlled. "Sarah, we need to talk." That tone, the same one she used when I disappointed her, when I didn't meet expectations, when I failed, at least in her eyes. I straightened slightly. "What's wrong?" A pause. I could hear muffled voices in the background, Dad probably, pacing, whispering his opinions like always. "It's about tomorrow," she finally said. "The wedding." My stomach tightened. Emma's wedding, 12 hours away. "Okay," I said carefully. Another pause. Then, "We think it's best if you don't come." The words didn't just land, they hit. Hard. Even though part of me had been expecting something like this, hearing it out loud still felt like someone had reached through the phone and struck my chest. "I'm sorry," I said slowly. "Did you just say, 'don't come'?" "Sarah, please don't make this harder than it has to be." Her voice softened, but not enough to hide the decision already made. "You know how important this day is for Emma. Everything has to be perfect." "And I would ruin that?" "It's not like that." "Then what is it like, Mom?" Silence. Then the truth came out, but carefully wrapped in politeness. "You know how you've been lately, the way you present yourself, your situation." My jaw tightened. "My situation?" "Yes," she continued, almost gently. "The small apartment, that old car, your job or lack of stability." I closed my eyes. She kept going. "Marcus's family is very successful. His parents, his colleagues, they're all accomplished people. The Henderson family has a reputation to maintain." I almost laughed. Actually laughed. Because if there was one thing ironic in this entire situation, it was this. I was the most successful person in that entire family, but they had no idea. And that was by design. For 3 years, I had built my life in silence. While they saw struggle, I built an empire. While they pitied me, I outgrew them. While they ignored me, I created something extraordinary. "Mom," I said quietly, "I'm your daughter too." "Of course you are, sweetheart." That word again, sweetheart, always used when she was about to say something that didn't feel loving at all. But sometimes loving someone means making difficult choices. There it was, the justification. Emma deserves her perfect day, and having you there, it might raise questions we don't want to answer. Questions, like why I didn't look successful, like why I didn't fit the image, like why I wasn't good enough. I inhaled slowly. "You mean I don't look the part?" She didn't answer. She didn't need to. If only she knew, if only any of them knew, that the struggling daughter they were ashamed of owned the very venue where Emma was supposed to get married. "Sarah?" said Mom. "Are you still there?" "I'm here." "You understand why this is for the best." I turned toward the glass wall, looking out over the city I quietly controlled through contracts, partnerships, and properties. Hundreds of employees were working that moment under my company. Tomorrow, they were supposed to make Emma's wedding perfect. I let the silence stretch. Then I said, "I understand." Relief flooded her voice instantly. "I knew you would. You've always been reasonable." Reasonable. Not successful, not brilliant, not powerful, just reasonable. Maybe we can have lunch next week, just family. Maybe. I love you. Love you too. The call ended, and just like that, I was no longer invited to my own sister's wedding. I sat there in silence, not crying, not angry, just still, because something inside me had finally settled. For years, I had wondered, if they knew who I really was, would they treat me differently? Now I knew something even more important. Without knowing who I was, they had already shown me who they were. Slowly, I reached for my phone, scrolled, tapped a name. James Morrison, General Manager, Grandview Manor. My property, Emma's venue. Miss Adams, is everything all right? James, I said calmly, cancel the Henderson wedding. Silence. Then, I'm sorry, ma'am? Cancel everything. Ma'am, the wedding is in less than 12 hours. They've paid in full. I know. There will be legal consequences. Refund everything. Another pause. May I ask why? I walked toward the glass wall. Plans changed. Should I inform the family? No. I let my voice go colder. They'll find out when they arrive. That moment, that decision, it wasn't about revenge, not entirely. It was about something deeper. Respect, or the complete lack of it. By morning, chaos had already begun. Calls, messages, voicemails, Emma crying, Dad confused, Mom panicking, and me. I was already gone, in the back seat of my car, driving toward the ocean. For the first time in years, I chose myself. Days later, when I finally turned my phone back on, I saw everything: the ruined wedding, the rushed ceremony at a small community center, the disappointment, the confusion, the anger, and then one message from Emma. Different, softer, real. Sarah, I don't understand what's happening, but I know something's wrong. Please talk to me. So I did. When I told her the truth, everything changed. I own the venue, Emma. Silence. I own 17 venues. Silence. I canceled your wedding. Breathing. Shaking. Then, why? And finally, after years of silence, I said what I had been holding in my heart. Because you all decided who I was without ever asking me. That broke her. Not the canceled wedding, not the chaos. That. And in that moment, for the first time, she saw me, not as the struggling sister, not as the disappointment, not as the shadow, but as Sarah. When I returned home, they were all waiting, nervous, humbled, quiet, and when they stepped into my penthouse, when they saw my success, my reality, my mother whispered, "What have we done?" I looked at them, really looked at them, and I realized something important. They weren't evil, they weren't cruel, they were just blind. You made assumptions, I said, and I let you. That night we sat together, for the first time in years, not pretending, not performing, not judging, just talking. And as I watched them finally see me, I understood something I hadn't before. Success isn't always about building something bigger. Sometimes it's about rebuilding what was broken. The wedding they lost was just one day, but the family we rebuilt, that was forever.